Hi, I'm Heather McLean, editor at SVG Europe, and I'm here today with Deltatre. I have with me Adam Nightingale, Senior VP Commercial OTT at Deltatre, and also Carlo Marchis, Chief Evangelist. Hi, guys.
Hello, hi.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Right, so my first question for you both is, can you tell me what streaming services can do at this time to keep going and to keep those sports-starved fans happy?
Yeah, I think we immediately started to analyze what would happen in this weird moment. And the first thing we said, okay, what if events have no fans? And in 2 days it becomes, okay, what if we don't have live events? It was very sudden. So we started to focus on what our clients could do and how we can support them in this moment. And the thing we focus, I think, can summarize it at 5. Everything is based on, can you engage with fans? And can you produce content, because there is no live content that creates, a flow of automated content apart from the live itself. So it's both being already in a good position with the fan relationship and having an advantage of being able to create content or interaction with fans. And what we kind of predicted at the very beginning was, I think they will focus on VOD and archive, maybe combined with special offers. And that was exactly what a lot of them started to do. Also, our clients started to go free for some part of the archive, propose the archive, do replay as live in many sports, and also try to add some additional content on top of that. So the other thing that many people will start to do is focus on, if you want more the interactivity of things, going back to a format of maybe the brackets to decide, I don't know, the best game of a certain teams, etc. So trying to interact with fans in those ways, but also giving player access, or the player themselves giving access to their, life at home, which is not easy for players. And the other thing that we predicted, the fourth one, was esport will be relevant for those sports that have an esport. So we only focus, if you want, on esports that are a sport. So obviously motorsports, different variation of the game, F1, NASCAR, etc., MotoGP now. Obviously FIFA 20, NBA and 2K, and now more and more sports are trying to have a virtual version in this moment. And the other one, if you want, is the more fitness performance angle. Both athletes, players, and fans are at home. So I've seen a lot of funny or great stuff from players, but I've seen a lot of friends trying to learn what I can do what athletes do. So I go on my little app that does the simple thing for the old guys. But otherwise, that's a lot of what's happening. And that's the way that our clients are trying to keep fans engaged in this moment.
Okay, and what is Deltatre doing specifically to fill the gap here when we've got no live sport happening?
I think there are a few things. I mean, it's worth looking at Deltatre from a wider view, because yes, we have a background that is very strong in sports, but what we've also got is a very strong business in the entertainment sector, and there's quite an overlap between the two of those. So although, as we've talked about, there's not a great deal of live sport going on right now, but there is a huge amount of uptake in the demand for SVOD services. So we're seeing our customers, our clients, who are increasing their subscriber acquisition levels by sort of from a third extra to doubling the quantity. So there's actually a lot that we're doing. One, making sure that our clients can scale to that need. What we're also doing is looking further ahead. And I think, although we've got not much sport going on now, it will push out. This whole horrible COVID situation will resolve, and life will in some way get back to some version of normal, which means that later this year and pushing into 2021, we're going to see far more sport compacted into a year than we've ever seen before. We've got the Olympics, there'll be football, there'll be tennis, there's golf, and all happening in a very short amount of time. Now, I think there'll be a few effects from that. One, there'll be more sport than the traditional linear channels can necessarily carry, and there'll be more sport than we've all got time in the day to watch, because we will be back at work. We won't be flopping around at home, binging on whatever box set we've found. So, well, let's hope not anyway. So there'll be an awful lot more content to consume. So a lot of that will feed into OTT. What OTT is also going to give us is the ability to have far greater far greater levels of engagement with consumers. That means that in a more time scarce world than we have now, we can use products like Diva for creating highlights of games and compacting games into a shorter amount of time. We can create catch-up services so that if you want to prioritize watching Formula One, well, that's great because you can watch the golf later on in the evening or whenever you fancy. So tied in with that as well, the other thing that we're doing a lot, we've been it's not necessarily designed for COVID, but for the last 2 years we've been working on a product called M-Tribes, which we went live with this week, or last week, sorry. And what M-Tribes allows us to do, amongst many other things, is to identify more about the tribes of viewers within an audience. That means that we can help create a better viewing experience for all of them. What we can also do, and this is very relevant, I think, to the growth in subscriber numbers that we've been seeing in some sectors in the last couple of weeks, we can help identify when people are likely to churn off. So if we're seeing a big spike in numbers now as life returns to normal, then it will inevitably gradually start to decline. And what we're doing for our clients now is helping them to spot that decline and to reduce the impact of it. You know, to carry on engaging with their subscribers at a more personal level and just try and keep them on side for a bit longer.
Great.
So there's a lot that we were doing anyway that happens now to be more relevant than we necessarily expected it would be when we started out.
Mm. And you said just then, you know, towards the end of this year and early next year, we're going to see a lot of compacted sports things happening all together at the same time, and a lot of that will go over to OTT because linear channels won't be able to show us all of it at once. Do you see that kind of changing the way the sports broadcast industry works kind of permanently? You know, the way this whole situation, the way it is now, people looking at OTT stuff, and then how it's going to pile up and how channels will have to cope with that.
I think it's gone, Carlo.
I think what we are seeing is we are dividing this thing in three phases, this moment, three phases. What we call now, and maybe we'll talk about it later, the sport hiatus. This moment, there is no live sport. What we call the resume will happen hopefully soon, and not all together. It may be sport without fans or sport in very restricted, constrained areas, or only few sport able to start, because not every sport is the same, clearly. And the last one is what we call the next, or the new next normal. So the situation will be different. I'm sure there will be behaviors that will go back to normal. Obviously, there is live sport. I can go to the stadium. We have to see how many people will go immediately back to normal and what behaviors will be changed forever. I think we all in a, if you want, sports tech sector. I'm not a super techie myself, but I've always been, paying with my watch. I've always been kind of advanced in digital behavior, and I've been kind of ridiculized by family and friends, to be honest. Now everybody's doing it. So there is this acceleration, so a silver lining, if you want, both in sports and in normal life. A lot of behavior have accelerated towards what we thought should have already been the new normal. Not because we were smart, but because we work in a sector where this is our bread and butter. And I think the same will happen in sport and with the fans. They will understand that community is important. So if before we were trying to convince clients that experiences where you can watch together was something that people will want to do, I'm sure in the US, where families are all living in different places, maybe less in Italy, where we all live in the same place and you see the results. But this is something that now is becoming a need. So I think a portion of the behaviors will stay and some other behavior will revert back because the conditions are different. If I have live sport, there are things that I can do live. I'm not saying that VOD and everything that we have built around VOD, both in terms of creativity and innovation, will disappear, but will be rebalanced. And again, creativity and innovation, I think, as a testimony of how good, in some way, our industry is, there was an immediate boom of creativity and innovation to cover the absence of live sport. The speed in which certain federations, especially, or media groups have reacted, I was really astonished. I was obviously off the record. A big sport property told me, we are doing in 4 weeks what it would take to convince everybody 4 years to do. And now we can, so we're doing it and we have to. I think this is really an acceleration that will define the next normal.
And I want to come back to your sports hiatus comment there. But before that, I mean, how is Deltatre going to change what you do going forward? You know, is anything changing permanently, or?
I think a few things actually, and I was interested in Carlo's comment and agree completely. And I don't think this is only a Deltatre thing or only a sports or entertainment industry thing. I think what's wonderful in air quotes is quite how reactive and innovative and dynamic many sectors have been in dealing with the situation that we're in. On a Deltatre level, I mean, not quite as earth-shattering as creating ventilators in 2 weeks. Now, we've adapted the way we work very quickly. We've already had a very flexible way of working, so people work at home, and what we've learned is that we're actually pretty good at working at home. Now, it's kind of nice. We're having meetings with colleagues in our own homes, a bit weird in some ways, but we're good at it, and we haven't lost any velocity in anything that we're doing. And in fact, if we look at the levels of productivity that we seem to be achieving, I think overall we're in, it'd be awful to benefit from this, but I think actually in many ways we're learning how to be more efficient as a company than we were before. So there's a lot that we're learning to do better, and we're learning to do differently, and I think it will endure. Now that we know we can work at home and do it pretty well, we still want to go and see each other because we like each other, and it's good to work together properly. But yeah, we're getting better at being remote.
I think, as Adam said, and I have something. I just finished a board with all the management, and the last topic we discussed, and this is on the record but off the record, we are planning to basically understand if this can become the new normal. So already people were. I've used to work wherever I am in the world. Adam is the same, or at home or in the office, and a lot of people did the same, but it was more company policy. You can work 1 or 2 days, etc. But it was not top priority. Now we are thinking, really, can we not really, as we saw that we can work in the same way. We didn't have any deceleration of productivity by working like that. Even if the human aspect of meeting people is always good. So we started a project that is basically trying to reshape, in theory, what our offices are. Maybe more meeting rooms and some temporary spaces. And just we are 19 offices in 4 continents, 11 countries, 1,000 people. So clearly we don't live in one office. And 30% of this is in Italy, everybody else is somewhere else. So obviously we are a global company and we work remote, right? So we are accelerating also on that.
Great. That's good. It's good that, you're already finding fast positives from the situation everybody's in. But going back to your sports hiatus idea, Carlo, you did a tweet, I think, on the 16th of March, just asking people, to contribute their thoughts. So what's come out of that? Where could it lead?
So basically, I always have this fascination with being a bit kind of a futurist. I can say, because now I'm old, I can say stupid things. So. And I saw that, okay, this is changing completely for a moment, for a period, our environment. So obviously sport, because that's what we do. And I found the word hiatus, which is a Latin word that is, I like, because it's a moment. So even to take it positively, I think that's for everybody. And the moment will finish up fully soon. We have to see how we resume, but that's the message. The second one is, I'm not Jeff Bezos. I cannot donate. I'm not a scientist. I've tried as much as I can, as Deltatre also, to stay away from anything that is not our expertise, that is basically bringing sport and entertainment to fans, enabling and monetizing passions. And so I thought we should be one team and work together. And the idea was, if you want 3 areas. Internal, we immediately started creative brainstorming to think, at the beginning, there are no fans. What can we do in the stadium? Then we went to, there is no live sport. What can we do with our clients? Exactly back to your first question. And now we are again saying, this will restart with no fans. So can we help broadcaster and federation to do something creative in the stadium or online? And second is our clients. So we have tried to be, and this Adam can expand, as close to our clients and support them in whatever way we could, maybe with ideas or with services or with being fast and adapt in one day to go from pay to free, which is not irrelevant on OTT because it means you have some more user all of a sudden. And the third one is more the wider market in the industry. Say, hey guys, let's do it together. And I was surprised of how many messages of thank you because you're positive I got from competitors. So obviously clients is nice. I talk to many clients, I talk to media, but the fact that competitors took, and again, we love everybody and we're friends with everybody, but still you're competing. But these people taking the time to write and thank me, and not because it's me, but I think that's like a sign of how Deltatre is a leader in this industry, because we're bigger than, you know, just being a supplier, I think.
Great. Any last comments, Adam?
Took a while to find the unmute, sorry. And yeah, Carlo makes a good point, and the position that Deltatre is in the industry, and that sort of the reputation for creativity and for innovation and for understanding the market, understanding the customers, the viewers, the fans, and for understanding how technology can be used to improve the fan experience does put us into it's a bit of a high pressure situation. So there's almost an expectation that we're going to have good ideas, that we have some thoughts on what can be done. But also, I think, as Carlo said, to be able to engage in those discussions, and you know, Carlo and I'm sure both love to share some of the more specific ones, but we can't. But to have those discussions about what can be done, you know, how can we turn this gap very specifically for some leagues, for some federations, into you know, a time when there can be new content generated, is it's kind of a privilege, but daunting, but definitely interesting. It's definitely challenging, and it's stretching us in some good ways. And more specifically, we have been working on, that's a constant thing, working on our product roadmap for the next sort of 12, 24 months. And a lot of what we're learning now is the kind of work that we're doing, the kind of investments and features that we're going to be surfacing in the products in the coming period. So it's forcing us to move quickly. It's forcing us to adapt.